Welcome to the Film Threat Livecast. It is Friday, so happy Friday to everybody. Guess what? Star Wars Celebration in Europe is happening now. And you know what? There's some news that has come out of Star Wars Celebration, and we are going to discuss it today. Also, reviews of movies playing in theaters like Paint. We'll continue our discussion of the Super Mario Brothers movie, plus Tetris is on Apple TV Plus. Is it worth checking out? Is it worth subscribing to Apple TV Plus for 1 month for $6.99 to watch that movie and then unsubscribe? I will let you know exactly that. Plus, Alan Ng is here, starring your comments. But I woke up this morning, and let me just say this, a lot of news out of Star Wars Celebration. So I've been watching it for the last 3-4 hours. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. I got up, I don't know why. And I started watching a bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about all of it today on the Film Threat Livecast. So buckle up, grab yourself some coffee. I have my coffee, except I got to tell you something. I'm a little pre-coffee right now, so I got to wake up. So bear with me. Let's go. Hey. Alan, you're here.
Yeah. Hey, we finally get to talk about the news first.
Well, I mean, look, it's a holiday weekend. I'm super excited to be going to the Rose Bowl swap meet in Pasadena. I have not been in years. It's beautiful weather. I'll be checking that out. But Star Wars Celebration is happening currently in the UK, and it's wall-to-wall coverage. So for the people who spent thousands of dollars to travel from the United States to the UK to be there live, I've got a front row seat on YouTube watching everything. You were watching it this morning as well.
I just caught actually part of the Andor panel. Yeah, why can't every Disney Plus Star Wars television show be like Andor?
Well, we'll
talk about that. Yeah,
we'll definitely get into it. And I saw there was a comment from, was it Brock Samsonite, who was like, Gore, you had one job. I agree with him. I'm with you. So what do? We pivot. And today we're talking about it. We'll get into it, but let's see who's here first before we start talking about Star Wars Celebration. In the chat is Indie Phantom has become a new YouTube member. Thank you for that. Lord Thoth is here. Hi, everyone. Zavin. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having a good Friday. It is a good Friday.
Yeah, good Friday.
Mike MC Wong, guess the age of Kathleen Kennedy. She's 69. Is she really?
She might be. Let's look it up.
Alan, is that true?
It could be.
Is that
69, 69, 69, 69, 96. Let's go. $69.
Wait, how old is she?
She is 69.
She is 69. Oh, okay, that's great. Thanks, Mike. Always good to chat with you. Solomon Thornton, yeah, it's Film Thread time. Happy Good Friday to you all. Eric Henson, whoop, whoop. Hail to early chat. Wizard Shack off for Good Friday, so happy to be here for a live one. Wizard Shack, we're happy you are with us. John Manilang, good morning and hail chat. T-Gift. What's T-Gift? Oh,
well,
TGIF.
Thank God it's Film
TGIFT. Oh my God. Okay, I haven't had coffee yet. I've had 2 sips. John, forgive me. Brock Samsonite. Okay, here's the comment. Chris picked a great day to talk about Mario. Star Wars Celebration is going on right now and is dropping all their announcements. Chris, you had one job. Guess what? We pivot. Brock Samsonite, we pivot. Here we are. And Ms. Pico Coffee. Ms. Pico Coffee is our moderator in the chat. She's answering your questions. She's helping out. She's keeping things light and fun. Thank you, Ms. Pico Coffee. We appreciate it. And we have to teach Ms. Pico Coffee. We have to teach you how to do the thing. What do they call that when you kind of like mark the episodes? You can just jump to a topic.
What on the
YouTube? You index the show, so it's like you've got intro, this topic.
Yeah, all you have to do is put the timestamp.
The timestamp.
And YouTube will take care of the rest.
Alan will tell you all how to do it.
Yeah, like you say, Star Wars discussion, 10 minutes, 30 seconds.
Right. But there's like a whole thing where you actually mark it so that you could just jump to the top.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the chapter marks. I have no idea how to do that, but
okay. Well, we used to do that. Ms. Pico Coffee, you can do it during the show live, and we appreciate it. All right.
Hey.
Sifax. Hey, hail, Chris and Alan. Looking forward to a great show. Hey, Sifax. Good to see you. What are we seeing next week? I think there's a investor screening of Renfield on Wednesday. And then there is a screening of Beau is Afraid on Thursday. We'll have to talk about it. Sifax, you have my email. Hit me up.
I will say I'm seeing Renfield on Monday.
How are you seeing Renfield on Monday?
We got invited to a screener.
I didn't. All right. Jericho Leon, good morning, everyone. Happy Good Friday. Subtle Deviancy. I'm so excited that Ray is returning. I'm heading straight out to Ollie's discount store and buying thousands of her unsold action figures.
Yeah.
David Gunn, Chris is only a little pre-coffee. Well, I actually got a decent night's sleep last night. I went to bed before midnight, oddly. John Manalang, Star Wars Episode X, Palpatine Palpitations. That I would watch that. OTO, Waldorf, and Statler 2.0 FTW. I like that. Fear the Turtle, Masters Weekend is greater than Star Wars Celebration. Tell you all you need to know about my lack of interest in Star Wars these days, and I hate that Disney has done that to me. It's weird because I really miss. Here's the thing I miss. I miss loving Star Wars. I miss it. I used to love it. It was something I celebrated with my friends. And I miss that. Brock Samsonite, morning all. Happy Friday, Chris and Alan. Alan's TED Talk is coming soon, says David Glenn. And Oltor 520 saw Mario in 3D last night. First movie I've seen in theaters in over a year. I wasn't mad about it. It's absolutely for children, zero adult humor. I will say this. I did see it a second time, and I enjoyed it better the second time.
I've heard the 3D version is exceptional as well.
I bet the 3D version is insane because it's like you're in the game. But yeah, I enjoyed it better the second time. I still think the flaws that I believe are there. I also think that the Easter eggs everyone is raving about. It's great that they're there, but that's not a movie. That's not a story. That's not like something that gets you emotionally engaged. Is seeing the video game arcade stand-up, which was the original beginnings of Mario's character, like seeing that in the background or little Easter eggs or sounds from games or, whatnot. Like that doesn't make a movie. Super chats here coming in hot. Elliot Cecil for $1.99. Excited for your honest and brutal opinions today. I don't know how to do anything else. Henry back to play, and thank you for that. Henry back to play for $4.99. Good morning, Film Threat. My support to your wonderful channel. Also, Ray Skywalker equals we're screwed. And
she's not officially a Skywalker, is she? She's still a Palpatine, right? I know. Who cares?
Hey, you know what? Don't dead name Ray. She named herself. She has her chosen name. Subtle Deviancy, Chris P. Gore. The P stands for parsimonious. Wait, how'd you know my middle initial of my name is P? Stands for Patrick. I'm Irish. Jamin D. I just want to say my condolences to Alan. That Avengers game is finally dead. And as I noticed, Alan removed Avengers being played on his screen behind him. Alan, what's the deal?
Okay. Yes, the game is dead. I mean, you can still play it, but you really need that multiplayer enthusiasm, which may wane over time. But we're going to be painting this room within a week or so. So I pulled out the monitor behind me. as preparation.
What a week or so? What's the date, Alan? What's the date?
Well, the biggest thing is this week I have to clear out all the unnecessary stuff in the room so I could get to the walls. And so hopefully after Friday's show next week, we can start painting.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. First of all, the trailer for Ahsoka dropped. Alan, you and I both watched the trailer this morning. Ahsoka is a character created by Dave Filoni, which showed up in the Clone Wars animated series. I never cared about this character because the character was never in the movies. Apparently, I only know this from watching some clips from the animated show. And also, Ahsoka was in The Mandalorian in an episode, and I thought was very good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought interesting, a surviving Jedi from the Great Purge. And I thought Ahsoka for that particular episode was very good. Ahsoka was in the Clone Wars, and apparently Anakin had a secret Padawan that we didn't know about. But again, Ahsoka was never in the movies. No mention of Ahsoka by name in the movies. It just didn't happen. I think that Ahsoka as a character is Dave Filoni's kind of pet character that he created. I do like the actress who plays Ahsoka. She is played by, why am I spacing on her name?
Ashley Eckstein.
What? No.
Ashley, no, Rosario Dawson. I'm thinking of the voice actress.
Yes, Rosario Dawson, who I happen to really like Rosario Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there have been a lot of rumors about her that I believe are not true, and a lot of stories that were blown out of proportion. I think Rosario Dawson, I like her as an actress. And Ashley should be is she in the show?
You would hope she is.
You would think that they would put her in the show. So I watched the trailer and I thought it looked like a fan film. Honestly, I thought it looked like a fan film. Now, and there was a lot of sort of, you see the back of Thrawn's head in one shot. And then you hear literally Ahsoka say, "Heir to the Empire," like, which is the beginning of the book series by Timothy Zahn, which I read. I read that book series. I thought that was going to be the basis for the Star Wars sequels, and I read those books while listening to the soundtrack to Star Wars, and it blew my mind. I thought those books were great. I thought it would have made a phenomenal trilogy. But what's funny is she lands on this planet and talks to a girl who obviously is some previous relationship, a girl with pink hair. And I just thought to myself, that's when I thought it looked like a fan film, when the pink hair girl showed up, and I was like, and they're just talking, and I'm like, and then you cut to another girl, and I'm not, look, I like that they're, strong female characters have always been a part of Star Wars, but it seems like there's an inordinate amount in this. I know I'm gonna get people criticizing.
I think the issue is balance.
I just think balance. I just think have some balance, because I like Rosario Dawson as this character. I think she did a good job in that one Mandalorian episode. Do we need a series featuring her? I'm not sure, but obviously, somehow Dave Filoni has shoehorned her into the Return of Thrawn, which I believe, my theory is that the Dave Filoni announced movie, we'll talk about the movies in a moment. The Dave Filoni announced movie, I believe, will be the culmination of all of these Disney Plus stories, are leading to a finale that will be resolved in a movie directed by Dave Filoni. That's my theory. Because no titles for these movies were announced. Okay. We're just focused right now on Ahsoka. It looked like the people that are working on the show worked themselves into the show. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Alan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts.
So I reacted a little bit better to the Ahsoka trailer. And you said what? And I basically said, well, compared to what we're getting, this trailer actually looks better. But again, a backhanded compliment there. Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly, from what I've seen of the Clone Wars, I mean, if there was a female character in Star Wars that deserved her own series, this is the one. And I don't begrudge anyone for this series. When we talk about female roles and female characters. So, I mean, this quick trailer with quick scenes looked pretty good. It doesn't assuage my fears that this is just going to be another series, another installment of a series of bad Star Wars TV shows. But we'll see. We're going to talk about it when it comes out, and I'm going to be forced to watch it. So maybe I'm just kind of bracing myself, and maybe offering myself a glimmer of hope that this one might actually be good.
Would it be a New Hope?
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
Well, it'd be a resurrected hope.
I mean, I will say,
to play off the weekend. Yeah.
I will say this: I am pretty impressed with the CG, the production design, and the a lot of the sort of the background dressing, the special effects.
Yeah,
I think
as compared to Kenobi.
Compared to Kenobi, also compared to Marvel, just current day Marvel, when you look at it seems the quality of Star Wars from a production standpoint is very good. When we get into story and whatnot, it's embarrassing. That last episode of The Mandalorian, I had a tweet that blew up. Should I share? I'm going to share.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you follow my personal
I don't know
Twitter.
that. Yeah.
If you follow my personal Twitter, I don't post that much, so you're not going to get a lot. But my personal Twitter, I am if you watch this show, you already know I'm a sarcastic asshole, and that doesn't change. That doesn't change at all on Twitter. So I'm always surprised when people are like, I can't believe you said this in the comments. And it's someone I actually know in real life. And I'm like, dude, you kind of know that like I'm a sarcastic jerk. And all I tweeted was a photo of Lizzo and Jack Black I said, SNL is actually hilarious this season. And it got nearly 3,000 likes and a bunch of quote tweets and whatever. So I don't know. It's weird. My Twitter gets no engagement or tons of engagement. There's not any sort of like, I get a consistent amount of, I don't like Twitter. I think it's a terrible way to communicate with people. I think it is polarizing, and I don't like it. So I post to let people know I'm still around, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But
I had fun on Twitter just the last 2 days. I had been arguing both sides of the trans debate, and it's like, how did I get myself caught in this? I need to stop posting.
Yeah, I avoid those types of debates. I just think I have my opinion, and my opinion is not going to sway. It's not going to change anybody's mind. I have my opinion, and you're welcome to have yours. On Ahsoka, it looked a little too like there just needed to be a little bit more balance. I thought in the way I thought they were kind of. They were trying to appeal to a specific crowd, I think, with this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the issue there is, the women are the good guys and the men are the bad guys, and that's the impression I got when if I were to go and check off all the male and female characters, that's what it appears to be right now.
Yeah, and the women are united in their in battling all the male characters. All right, well,
they're in sync. They're like.
Alan, don't say it. Don't say it. I know what you're gonna say, Alan. All right. Okay. So look, I'm. I can't say I'm hopeful. I can't say I'm hopeful anymore because after Kenobi, my expectation is that everything Star Wars is just going to be bad. That's just my expectation.
Yeah. Yeah, so, that's how I feel. They're giving me a glimmer of hope, and I know they're going to take it away.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's go to your comments and questions here. Lori Ormond, who's a member. Thank you, Lori. I have to say, Ahsoka looks good, but I've been deceived before.
Yeah.
I feel like an abused spouse that keeps going back because maybe this time they will change. I will say this. If the story is focused and if Rosario Dawson is the lead character of the show, if Ahsoka is the lead character, I think it has possibilities.
Yeah, like Ewan McGregor was the lead character of Kenobi.
Yeah, he was not. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think if it stays focused, that's the problem is that the Mandalorian is like the Star Wars show. Now it's the
Mhm.
Bo-Katan show. It just I don't
Yeah, I mean, it should have been the Chronicles of Star Wars or something like that. That's what
Yeah.
it feels more like than the Mandalorian.
Or the pre-sequels. That's what the Mandalorian is, the pre-sequels, because it's the prequel to the sequels. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But I like Rosario Dawson as this character. That one particular episode is one of the standout, very good episodes of The Mandalorian, where she teams up with the Mandalorian and then she goes away. And that's great. She can be in an episode and then be gone. And then and then her absence, you kind of miss her. Like, oh, she was a good character. So we'll see. It debuts in August. John Manling, Rosario Dawson is pretty damn hot. No lies detected. Fear the Turtle 21 loved the Clone Wars cartoon, and Ahsoka was a great character. She was good in Mando too. Agreed. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but I'm worried it will be a huge letdown, just like Kenobi and Boba Fett. Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah, it's
You're
a
right to feel that
reasonable fear there.
And then Fear goes on to say, really liked Ahsoka in Clone Wars and loved Thrawn in Rebels. Ahsoka was also good in Mando, but I just assumed the show is going to be a letdown. Like, that's kind of, you rephrased your similar comment, but we get what you're saying. Thank you, Fear the Turtle 21. Superhero movies are the best movies. There's nothing wrong with strong females, but there has to be balance. Black Widow, Tony, Cap, T'Challa, Okoye, etc. Yeah, I agree. It just seems, but it's fine. It's just a trailer. But you know what? The Force is female, says Imperfect. And Stephen Mack says Disney Star Wars was always dead. Basically, Filoni is James Gunning himself into Disney Star Wars, says Mob 19001. Too much SJW, says Spade 2187. Lori Ormond goes on to say, I do love Ahsoka. Her scene in Rebels against Darth Vader was jaw-dropping. Yeah, I have seen that scene, but I didn't really get the build-up. So,
right, but I think the point is there's Ahsoka is the character, and they built her right over the years, and so deserving of a TV series.
Jester of Roanoke says only Ahsoka can stop the heir to the Empire from causing more Star Wars. Brock Samsonite Skeleton Crew with Jude Law got a release date in 2023 this year. Interesting. I saw a clip from it that leaked. It looks like a show for little kids. I'm just saying, it looks like it's for little kids. Chief Brody, I don't know. They were all characters that already existed and have a base from Clone Wars and Rebels, so I don't know what it is. I don't know. It is what it is. Ahsoka is a great character. I just hope they do her justice. Good comment. White Rat, and white spelled W-I-G-H-T. Don't forget, the Force is female. And Spade 2187 for $1.99. If it gets a bad rating, they're gonna say racism. Really?
I think it'll be more misogyny than
misogyny. Yeah, I think because Rose McGowan. I don't even know what Rose McGowan is.
Rosario Dawson.
Rose McGowan. Rosario Dawson. I'm not even a half a cup in, folks. Rosario Dawson is what ethnicity, and who cares? She's under all that makeup anyways. What difference does it make? Does it matter? I don't think they're going to say. I think they're definitely going to accuse you, if you don't like the show, of being anti-female. Rida Ibn Muhammad says, is it just me or the choreography of the Ahsoka trailer is weak slow, geriatric. They cannot do duels from the prequels anymore. Yeah, it's weird. I would say that probably the best lightsaber duels of all time, ever in all of Star Wars, both television and the movies, is in the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
George Lucas, you got to see Jedi at their height, being badasses, and man, that that finale for episode 1, as much as like, I'm so like, I remember when I first saw episode 1, I was mixed. Like, there's stuff that's awful and there's stuff that's incredible. So there you go. And there is Paulie from Latino Slant just trying to troll us in the chat. Is it a review? Is this a review? It's a review of a trailer. It's a review of a trailer. Paulie, subscribe to Latino Slant. Help Paulie out.
Yeah, he broke some news last week.
First of all, that's where I go. I go to Paulie for all my breaking news. So there you go. We're gonna pivot for a second, but we're sticking with Star Wars Celebration because I want to talk briefly about something really quick. But those are, look, final thoughts on Ahsoka. It's so hard with the trailer. Wait and see, I guess. But I will say that based on what we've seen from the Disney Plus Star Wars series, I think Disney is still learning how to do television. I think they're still trying to figure it out, how to do streaming series. I almost think that Mando may have been less torturous had they dropped all the episodes at once. I'm not saying it would be better. It would just be less torturous. You could get it all, like ripping off a Band-Aid. You get it done in less than a day. You just rip it off. But we'll wait and see. I do like Rosario Dawson as that character who was in one episode of The Mandalorian. All right, quick pivot. Alan, are you ready?
Yes, let's do this.
I gotta find the. They dropped a new Indiana Jones trailer for Indiana Jones 5. It is online right now. It tells a little bit more about the story. It does have to do with altering time. Not just time travel. It appears to be altering time. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is featured more prominently in this trailer. And as expected, it's full-on cringe. I watched this trailer and I just this was me watching the trailer. It was just hands in my face palming like Picard. And the first trailer I didn't dislike as much as everyone else. I'm like, oh wow, you've got this big American flag, you've got a parade, you've got, Indy kind of trying to traverse modern society. And by modern, I mean the 60s. And I thought, well, this could be interesting. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, now you actually see in this trailer, you see that she actually is the goddaughter of Indiana Jones. There's a quick shot where she steals something from Indy and then takes off on her own. And I thought, oh no. It's all the girl power that people were predicting. I thought the trailer was just, it did not instill faith. And this might be this summer the film I'm looking forward to the least. And among the films I'm looking forward to the most are Oppenheimer and the Flash movie.
And Dune 2.
Well, and Dune 2, but that's not a summer movie. Dune 2, but we haven't seen anything for Dune 2. I've seen a lot of fan art of posters for Dune 2, but we've seen nothing from Dune 2. And I'm scared they're not going to get it right. Dune is probably my all-time favorite science fiction novel. it's so well done in its world building. But that second half of the book, I mean, David Lynch pretty much got the first half of the book right, and then it's like the last half of the book is in montage. Anyways, we're diverting here.
Yes.
You're distracting me, Alan. You brought up Dune.
Well, you're talking about movies you're excited to see, and Indiana Jones not being one of them.
I'm not. Indiana Jones 5, I'm not excited to see. It's going to be, they're not going to be making any more Indiana Jones movies after this. And if at the end of the movie, Phoebe Waller-Bridge somehow takes on the name of Indiana Jones, or he passes the mantle to her, or
she walks away with the hat and the whip.
There's a death scene and he gives her the hat or the whip or whatever. Horrible. And it looks like this trailer showed a lot more of Phoebe Waller-Bridge and their interaction. It just did not look great. What are your thoughts, Alan, on the trailer?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't see the trailer.
What?
But no, because I woke up early too, or not. I woke up late as well. But you're not saying anything that's really exciting me. I mean, I had problems with the first trailer just by the fact that it's so CG heavy. This entire movie is so CG heavy, and it, the thing I loved about the first Indiana Jones was the fact that every damn thing about it except the ghost scene was practical. And so that's just kind of like, you just want to go back to Last Crusade and just say that's the ending. That's the last movie.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm just, again, like you, I'm not excited about this. But we will see it and we will talk about it.
Okay.
I hate that this is the tone of movies this year. It's like every single movie mediocre, nothing special about it. Yeah, we got to see it. We'll talk about it. And
well, I don't agree with that. I'm an optimist. I mean, look, also beginning of the year is usually sort of sketch when it comes to new movies. Then the summer you get a couple tentpole movies. Some perform well, some bomb, and there's little gems hidden there. I think Oppenheimer has the potential to be one of those gems. And then in the fall, your better movies come out in the fall. Let's be honest, right? Your better movies are coming in the fall. So, although I did see a new trailer for Evil Dead Rise, and I kind of liked it. Now I'm actually kind of looking forward to that movie. I know, shocker.
Well, I mean, we're actually looking forward to seeing John Wick 4 again.
John Wick 4 is a surprise. One of my favorites of the year, along with Air.
Yeah, I finally saw Air, and very, very impressed. I think that's our first awards contender of the year.
But people will forget it. I want to hear what you think about the Indiana Jones trailer. Let's get to your comments here. Alan, if you could start some more comments. Yeah. Zavin, who's a member. Thank you, Zavin. Indiana Jones and the time travel of nonsense. Subtle deviancy. Phoebe Waller-Bridge causes my wallet to involuntarily close. Phoebe Wallet-Bridge. There you go. Steve Lorney says, folks always rag on Crystal Skull whilst giving Temple of Doom praise. Temple is not a good movie, not at all. There's some great scenes in Temple of Doom though, but I agree. I did not love Temple of Doom when it came out. It was kind of, that was Temple of Doom. A lot of people may not remember this. I remember the Temple of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is responsible for why there is a PG-13 rating. The original Indiana Jones movie was rated PG. They created the PG-13, 13 and up, because of the movie Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And the reason was that scene with the heart, where there's that ritualistic scene and the heart comes out. Some violent stuff in there that I think threw everybody off. So, yeah.
No, I would agree. I am not a fan of Temple of Doom.
Sir Switch Crookington, Indiana is already a unisex name. That's half the woke battle. CD Stein 69, who's a member. Thank you for being here. This is such a sad way to end the Indiana Jones franchise. This looks like it could make Crystal Skull actually seem better. Eric Jimenez says, remember when Indy fought commies in the last movie? Isn't it nice to know that he teamed up with one in the next movie? Why can't Fleabag have had her mind blown by the alien? Imperfect says Last Crusade was meant as the ending. And Jericho Leon says, lol, just watch the trailer for 2 minutes, Alan.
Yeah, I'm doing something right now.
Yeah, well, there you go. Matthew Hammond, appreciate that for $9.99. Thank you. I took the Mario movie as you are watching a live stream. Air was good, but something felt missing or rushed. I think we needed a montage of how to make a shoe and how basketball shoes are different. That didn't bother me. That didn't bother me. I think that the movie is really, it's like Moneyball or Jerry Maguire.
Mhm.
It's about all the behind the scenes. It's about how the sausage is made and the behind the scenes business of sports. And I really, really loved Air. Latino Slant. Yeah. When Temple of Doom came out, we were all disappointed. Yeah, that's true. Paulie. No, I was disappointed. It seemed like there was something fun lacking. Although that opening scene of Temple of Doom is so great.
Mm-hmm.
The opening scene with like the musical number is so good. It's God, I love it. Just the choreography of all the action. But yeah, it didn't, then they're eating monkey brains, says Zavin. I was just going to say that. Aaron Burleson for 5 says, just saw the trailer, capitalism joke, comment about mistakes he's made, not interested. I forgot to bring that up. There's a joke about, oh, it's capitalism. We're all capitalists. Like, I was just like, oh my God. And it's like, yeah, the mistakes that India's made. You're going to see, they're going to try to cancel. Watch, there's going to be a joke about him hooking up with Marion when she was underage and she was a student, or, hooking up with students. There's going to be a lot of shame, 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 Indiana Jones, for all your past things. Bad man, bad man. Watch, that's all. It's teased in the trailer. Oh my God. I just get this movie over with. Jerry Ball and Money McGuire, says David Glenn. Well, I don't know. There you go. Dr. Fauci's prison butt is someone's actual name on YouTube. And Dr. Fauci's prison butt, or DFPB, if everyone thinks Disney Star Wars is so bad, why do you and the audience keep watching it? I haven't watched a Disney Star Wars product since the opening night of The Force Awakens. Why do we do this, Alan?
Because people like it. People like it when we talk about it.
I will say this. It's kind of our job to cover this stuff. Yeah. I am a longtime Star Wars fan. I mean, look right behind me here. I have an R2-D2 cooler, a backpack in the shape of a Millennium Falcon, and a giant lightsaber that stands in as a poster tube, among other things, and ephemera sitting around. But when it comes to Disney Star Wars, I haven't bought anything. I haven't bought any of the merch. CD Stein 69 says, I'm sure there'll be a colonization comment as well. Alan showing off his Alan. Let's see.
I bought merch. Yeah, here we go. There, take it, suckers. There you go. Look at that lightsaber. That's a one-of-a-kind lightsaber. This is specific to this character. I mean, and I've got it. So.
Well, there you go. And Matthew Hammond for 2 says, I thought Ghostbusters caused the PG-13 rating. No, it was actually Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It gave filmmakers more leeway. You've got G, which is general audiences. By the way, Star Trek the motion picture is rated G. And then PG was sort of like, well, parental guidance suggested. And then PG-13 was like, under the age of 13 should probably not see this movie. But no, it was Indiana Jones. It was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Well, because I remember reading newspaper articles about it. I used to read the Sunday newspaper as a kid because I wanted to see what movies were opening that Friday. You'd see like the big movie posters. That was our Sunday ritual, was reading the Sunday funnies, reading the TV guide to see what movies were playing on television, along with movies that were opening in theaters.
Do you know the first PG-13 movie?
What is it?
It's Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Okay. But Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom caused a debate.
Yeah.
Like, should I take my kid to see this movie? Because there were a couple scenes that were violent and shocking. So, yeah. And then we have Sir Switch Crookington says, Nolan has been kind of washed lately. 3 out of 5 of his last works have been soft in the middle. Hopefully Oppenheimer is a return to form. Well, thank you for your 666 super chat. I think that it's one of those things. I think when a director has a movie that doesn't land, generally the rule is their next movie is like a make good. Like, I hear you. Stay with me. I know the last movie was not so great, but you have 2 bombs in a row. Generally doesn't happen. And I have faith based on the subject matter, based on that. I think that and the one thing that I think that Nolan is really good at tapping into things that are in the zeitgeist. If you go back and look, I'm not going to sit here and debate with you that The Dark Knight Rises is not a flawed film. It's very flawed. It has a third act. The first act is it's kind of, although I'm not even buying the premise at the beginning that Batman would retire for years after being around for like 2 years and then he'd stop doing Batman stuff. I don't buy that. So I think the premise at the beginning of Dark Knight Rises kind of falls flat, but Oppenheimer, we'll see. I think that so there you go. Alan, you blasphemer with Riva, says Subtle Deviancy. And Aaron Burlinson sends in $2, and we thank you for that. We appreciate the super chat. Indiana Jones 5 trailer, I think, is worse than the last trailer. I think that we're getting tease of what more of the story is, and it looks terrible. It just looks terrible. So let's pivot now again. Really quick. You know what? I'm not even going to play the video. You already know. Let's talk about some other announcements at Star Wars Celebration. There are some key announcements. There are 3 movies. Can you look it up, Alan, and put up so I can make sure to get the names right?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay, sure. So there were 3 announcements. There were announcements that there were going to be 3 new Star Wars movies. Okay. James Mangold will be doing a movie, and this is very interesting. James Mangold is going to be directing a movie that is set 25,000 years before the Old Republic. They've added 3 new eras to the Star Wars canon timeline. I don't know if you could find that picture.
But this one here? Or
no, there's a different one that shows the logos. Maybe it's in the article. If you could look.
Yeah, this is the article. This one does go into detail, a little bit of detail of what the films are.
Okay, well, I read a couple stories, and I'm just bring one up here, but it's very interesting, and I'll tell you why. Years ago, I did an interview with Star Wars producer Gary Kurtz. I will add the link to this article in the description of this episode. I will also put this in the private chat. Why am I doing this? Something very interesting. And I'm gonna share screen for a moment. So back around the time when the original Star Wars trilogy was being re-released, the original Star Wars trilogy was being re-released in the special edition form. This is in the late 90s. And a buddy of mine named Jeff Wells, he's not a big genre or nerd guy. He said, hey, I'm going to meet up with Gary Kurtz at a diner and record the interview. I don't know anything about Star Wars. Will you come with me? So I accompanied Jeff Wells, and we sat at a diner and had coffee and interviewed Gary Kurtz. And he was very forthcoming with information. He talked about, and here's the interview. It's on the Film Threat website. And it's in parts here, but we talked about a lot of topics. We talked about We talked about the original Star Wars trilogy. We talked about Revenge of the Jedi and changing the title. We talked about his involvement with George. We discussed the special editions. It was interesting. He would not say anything bad about George or what his decisions were, even though I think a lot of people were disappointed with the special editions. But what he did say that he was disappointed that the music cues were off in the Rebel assault on the Death Star because it was recut. The music cues didn't match the action as well, and it felt like something was off, and that was why it didn't work. In any case, what he goes on to say in this interview is I asked him about the original Star Wars sequels and what they were supposed to be. And the interview that I did has been quoted in books, it's been quoted in other articles, and he talks about that the original Star Wars prequels were going to take place. The first movie was going to take place 25,000 years, and it is in this article. He talks about the original Star Wars prequels began 25,000 years with the formation of the first Jedi Knights. Then the next movie was going to be the adventures of Anakin and Obi-Wan and their friendship, and then that falling apart. And it was going to be kind of an if I recall correctly, kind of like an Excalibur story in the sense of like a Knights of the Round Table type of thing. Anyways, you can read the article on the website at filmthreat.com and check that out. So I find it interesting that the James Mangold movie is actually going to be 25,000 years. It's going to be set 25,000 years before, the Old Republic at the beginning and the formation of the original Jedi Knights. And sort of
the quote is the dawn of the Jedi.
The dawn of the Jedi. Exactly. So there you go. Could you throw up that other article again? And then, so there's the James Mangold project. My guess is that the collaboration between Kathleen Kennedy and James Mangold has gone well. And he did what he was supposed to do. And he made an Indiana Jones movie. And now James Mangold, and I'll say, of the directors there, he is the most talented. I mean, he made Ford versus Ferrari. He made
is it Wolverine or
he made Logan?
Logan, that's right.
I mean, he's a real filmmaker, okay? So he'll be doing a Star Wars movie about the beginnings of the Jedi Knights. I think it's going to be almost samurai-like. It'll be like a samurai film. It's my prediction. Dave Filoni is also directing a Star Wars movie that is set between Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and Episode 7, The Force Awakens. My prediction is it will be the culmination of the stories that are being told as Disney Plus series. So if you have not been watching all the Disney Plus Star Wars series, you'll be completely confused when you see this film.
Yeah, let me give you the quote here.
Yes.
Dave Filoni's will focus on the New Republic and close out the interconnected stories told in The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and other Disney Plus series. This is from Lucasfilm. This is their statement.
The big bad for that movie is going to be Thrawn. It's basically it's going to be the Cliff Notes version of the Heir to the Empire books. The Cliff Notes / alternate universe versions of those books. So there you go. Wait, we'll get to your comments. I see you in the chat. We're going to get to everything. The show's 2 hours. We have plenty of time to talk about everything, folks. But this is important news. People were talking in the chat. They wanted to know about this. The third movie, could you scroll back up again?
Yeah. So I'll read it. Let's see. Oh, Sharmeen Oba-Chinoy will be set after the events of Rise of Skywalker and feature Daisy Ridley back as Rey as she builds a new Jedi Order.
So basically, it's Luke's Jedi Academy, except they're replacing it with Rey, and she's 15 years older. Now, I'll say this about Daisy Ridley as an actress. I didn't mind her in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. She's a fine actress. She's fine. Nothing wrong with her. The scripts were terrible. The worst among them being the final film. Just the worst, not just as a Star Wars movie, but just as movies. Does anyone care about this character after these 3 films? And let's also look at Daisy Ridley's career. What has she done? I gotta say it. I gotta say it. And I'm sorry to point this out. Daisy Ridley has done nothing since The Rise of Skywalker. Alan, can you look? I'd like you to find what has Daisy Ridley been up to since the Star Wars episode 9. What has she been doing?
Yeah, let me
just try to find something.
Yeah, so she did she was a narrator.
Oh, keep searching. Alan, search. I need you to search. I need you to search far and wide the internet. I want you to find, has Daisy Ridley done appearances? Has she done charity? Has she done other movies? Has she been a B character in, say, like a Fast and the Furious film? Has she starred in a small indie movie? What has Daisy Ridley done since The Rise of Skywalker? Alan, keep searching. Alan, keep searching. Alan, what have you found? Alan, have you found anything? Alan, 10 seconds.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, what'd you find?
Okay. So she's basically been doing voiceover for video games. She was in the movie Chaos Walking, and she was also in the movie called The Bubble, which I believe was a COVID a movie about a COVID shoot, comedy about it. And
that's right. That was on Netflix. That was a Netflix directed streaming movie.
And then she'll be in a movie coming up called Sometimes I Think About Dying.
Well, can I just say something then? I'm going to say it. She basically inherited Mark Hamill's career because he was doing voice work. He was doing all this sort of little turning up here and there. He was in that one Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie. I thought it was kind of embarrassing for him. Basically, Daisy Ridley is Mark Hamill now, except without the, political rants on social media. So what else is she going to do? I don't see, this is, to me, a Jedi Academy focused on Rey's character. That is a Disney Plus show. That is not a movie. Now, here's my question. 3 movies were announced. Will any of these movies actually happen? That's the big question. Do you know how many movies have been announced from Lucasfilm that haven't happened? The number is 12. 12 movies have been announced by Lucasfilm that did not happen. The Rian Johnson trilogy, the trilogy from the Game of Thrones producers. There was the
Patty Jenkins
movie. How many more? Keep going. There was the Damon Lindelof one. I don't believe it. And I guarantee at least one of these movies isn't happening, if not all of them. Kathleen Kennedy's contract is up in 2025. I think that she is racing to get some momentum. But I think if I read the chat correctly, most people are checked out on Star Wars. They don't even want us to talk about this stuff. The chat is. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, we should talk about the director of the third one, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. She did 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel. That's what she's known for. And I believe...
So she directed 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, and she's done a bunch of short films, which is great. We love directors of short films. But the sense I'm getting here is that they'll hire anyone to do a Star Wars movie. So why not let it be us? We'll do it. We'll take on a Star Wars movie. Because apparently they'll let anyone do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just expect a movie of that magnitude to have at least a more seasoned veteran than that. I mean, not to diminish her career at all. But yeah, 2 episodes of a TV show. She's produced a lot of stuff. I don't know that, You know, it doesn't. There doesn't seem to be any. I'm not getting a sense that she's deserved of this compared to other people that you could certainly name.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well let Bryce Dallas Howard do it. I mean,
well, let's go to your comments and questions here about this, and then we will pivot and talk about other movies. But this is the big news out of Star Wars Celebration, so we have to cover it, whether we like it or not. That's look. We want to keep you up to date on this stuff. So here you go. Gore 2024, make movies great again. Funny you should say that. I'm gonna full screen myself for a moment. Just a moment. Funny you should say that.
Oh, there we go.
I got this on Etsy. Make movies great again. There you go. There.
But the question is that person you bought it from still on Etsy now?
No, that you can put anything.
I know. I'm just saying Etsy's kind of.
Oh, that's right. Etsy is not paying.
Etsy kind of hates a certain person.
It's weird. Brock Samsonite says, what do you think The Mandalorian is working on with its storyline? It's the ancient Mandalorian Jedi War Easter egg between Yoda species and Mandalore. I had heard that. I never knew about it, but that sounds interesting. So it'll be something of a redemption arc for the Mandalorians, right? And Mando.
Yeah.
Killick 69. Yeah, I'm waiting for the Tetris review. I stopped caring about Star Wars since The Last Jedi. Killick will get to that review. It's out. We're doing it. It's in the thumbnail. We're doing the review, but we had to talk about it. Imperfect. A samurai western could work as long as Disney has nothing to do with it.
Let me say this about the Dave Filoni movie. It just feels like it's the glue that's trying to piece back together a broken universe.
Right.
And I just don't think he can do it.
Star Wars Universe. Oh, sorry. Star Wars Universe says, yeah, they're going to bastardize the Thrawn trilogy and take away more of Luke's legacy. Yep. John Mantling. Yeah. Daisy Ridley's IMDb is pretty stale. Toxic Waltz N8. The rumor is that Star Wars is being thrown under the bus. I hadn't heard that. How is it being thrown under the bus? I just don't know. I just don't know that they announced 3 movies. They've announced 12 previously that didn't happen. Chris, you will watch whatever they put out, says Micah Henry.
Yeah, that's our job.
To talk about it, yes, I will watch it to talk about it. But then what I'm going to do, this is the premise of this channel. Okay, to be clear. Do you think if we just reviewed indie movies, we'd have 500 people watching this channel? No. When Alan and I exclusively just covered like little indie movies years ago, you know who watched our channel? Nobody. Now we started talking about, and look, I watched the mainstream stuff anyways. I just didn't talk about it as much. As soon as Alan and I said to Alan, this is like about a year and a half ago, I said, Alan, we got to do something different with the YouTube channel. Let's just, because I would see mainstream stuff anyways, and I can't not talk about Star Wars. Was my gateway movie. So I'm going to talk about it. So I am going to discuss it. But you know, what I'll do is then secretly woven into our coverage of Star Wars, we're going to talk about some small indie movies like Paint. And we're doing that today. And hopefully the almost 500 people watching, there's 455 people watching. I rounded up. That's what I learned. If it's over, you can round up past a certain number. 463. Come on. Please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, slap that like button, get us in the algorithm, please. Oh, wow. I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. John Manalang, Daisy Ridley is a good actress. It's just not a good script character. I did say that. I think she's a very good actress. I even liked the character, but she was not well served by the script. And I think she knows it. Nix 6. No, they just need to announce and get buzz. I am in Wales. Hey, are you actually in Wales? Mark Hamill got a lot of talk show time back in the day. There's a lot of great clips of him. Oh, it's Liam in Wales. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Liam. We've spoken before. I'm so sorry.
One of the L and the I kind of do it.
There you go. Dude B is a member. Ray is a better teacher than Yoda. We are going to learn that. Jared Manning, I'd watch Daisy in a new Guyver film. Hell yeah. Special Agent Bill Maxwell, right. I remember Hamill in Corvette Summer, though. Saw it on TV way back when.
Yeah. Wasn't that Mark Hamill's last movie?
No.
Corvette Summer?
The Sound of One Man Laughing. If I'd been in those movies, I might get out of the business too. Good going on the actress hate, though, Chris. I did not. First of all, did I hate or say anything hateful about Daisy Ridley as an actress, as a person? I said she's very good, and I even like her character. She was not served by the story. She was failed by those around her. And, there you go. Yeah, I said nothing that indicated hate for Daisy Ridley. And if you look at her, even in interviews, she's you could tell she's sort of cringing on certain things, but she's never said anything that has gotten headlines or crazy stuff. Juan. So there you go. Juan Toys and Bricks, Gore's movie therapy group. That's what this is.
Essentially, yeah.
Seriously, because I remember when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, I would have every day I'd get some friend on the phone and we'd talk for hours. And it's like movie therapy.
Honestly, I think that's why this channel exists. There's a sense of both of us just to need to talk about these things.
Yeah, precisely. Spade 2187 for $1.99. I think she more like Hayden Christensen.
She's better than Hayden Christensen.
I think she's a better actor than Hayden, unfortunately. But I think she's very good. I don't think people know what to do with her. All I know is Jennifer Lawrence is the first female Jedi, says JTPRX. Valentine Toybox says, after the lead in with Lizzo, oh my God, that Lizzo thing is so bad. So bad.
Again, all people are talking about is the Lizzo cameo and not about what Lizzo did in the episode.
John Manalang, at this point, let Uwe Boll direct these movies. By the way, John,
we should ask him.
1 week from today, on next Friday's show, Friday, April 14th, Uwe Boll is going to be here answering your questions live. It's happening. Get ready. It's going to happen. I'm going to ask him about getting in the ring with those critics that he beat the crap out of. I'll ask him about his reviews, what he thinks of his critics. I'll ask him about Star Wars. You can ask him whatever you want. Uwe Boll is going to be here a week from today, live on Film Threat. So there you are. Spidey Sensei 72 says the OG fans in here know your rep, Chris. No need to explain it to the noobs. Well, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. But I do think that, look, Alan and I just decided that we got to cover mainstream stuff, and then we kind of sneak in Vegetables, which is your indie movies that you may not know about. Okay, so there you go, and it's fine. It's also what makes the Film Threat channel unique. I'm not trying to be like other YouTube channels that mainly cover mainstream or nerd stuff. We do cover that, but we throw in the indie stuff because I feel it's very important. Subtle Deviancy for 2 says Heard acted better on the stand than Ridley in Star Wars. Amber Heard. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. Dude B says they'll watch whatever they put out, but Alan can't watch a trailer. It just dropped this morning. Cut Alan some slack.
I didn't realize it had actually dropped until
it's okay. Can't believe Star Wars Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary, says Slayer 96 DA second.
Oh, I'm so old.
Aaron Taylor, will Uwe Boll be punching any critics? Hide, Alan. Aaron, we'll find out next week. I want to show footage of him beating up critics. We'll show some photos and video of that while Uwe's here, but I can't wait for him to be on the show. So, ironically, I only know Uwe Boll because of Attack of the Show. Yeah, I reviewed his movies. He got some bad reviews and he got some good reviews. I was not all about the Uwe Boll hate like everybody else. I recognized him for what he did. He makes exploitation movies what is your expectation for an exploitation movie? It's like the people reviewing those older Uwe Boll movies. It's as if they don't know what exploitation movies are.
Actually, people nowadays don't know what exploitation movies are.
I love exploitation movies. Kara says, I liked Hayden, but his acting wasn't Oscar worthy, but I can still enjoy him. I can say it about Disney characters. I can't say it. I can say it about Disney characters.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but Attack of the Clones, his acting was cringeworthy. From the moment he started speaking, I'm like, and that's why I just, it's probably of the 6, the worst one, the only one I would actually give a bad review to.
The Joker, who's a member, says RRR and 52577 was so refreshing. This channel has reinvigorated my love for movies. That's part of our purpose, is to let you know about movies you wouldn't otherwise know about unless you watch the channel. So we appreciate that. And look, maybe we suck you in with the discussion of Marvel and Star Wars and the latest big movie in theaters, but then we'll throw you a bone of like, you need to know about a movie called Sisu. Have you heard of this movie called Sisu? Well, we're going to be talking about it. Alan apparently is about to see it.
I'm seeing it this weekend.
Matthew Hammond says, can you explain what an exploitation film is? Go ahead, Alan.
Well, it's kind of, it's a film that really, basically digs in, exploits a certain aspect of society, such as sex or race or whatever, and does it to an extreme degree that I think we enjoy its uncomfortability and somewhat of the salaciousness of it as well. That's kind of how I define it.
How would you define exploitation, Alan?
Exploitation, gratuitous.
Absolutely.
I had to show that.
Gratuitous.
He asked.
It's all gratuitous. This.
Exploitations are just filled with gratuitous nudity, gratuitous violence, over the top. You could argue that John Wick 4 is something of an exploitation movie, but there are companies that specialize. I would say Troma makes exploitation films. Full Moon Entertainment. Shout out to Charlie Band and everyone there. Yeah. They do a great job.
I think if you remove the story from John Wick 4, you would have an exploitation film.
And there you go. Jericho Leon, we love you, Alan. So there you go. So platforming societal stereotypes in film, says Doc Savage. But those movies are good. They're exploitation films that have a lot of heart. So look, Star Wars, I still believe, even after all of these announcements, I still believe it is a hobbled brand. I think that you'll see the enthusiasm on YouTube and everyone that's at Star Wars Celebration in the UK right now. And look, I've been to Star Wars Celebration. I've been to all but like 2 or 3 of them. It's fun to hang out with other fans, go drinking and celebrate your love of Star Wars. But the best part of Star Wars Celebration isn't the panels. It's really just hanging out with other fans. So there you go. Fedigator for $4.99. Love your show. Will you be reviewing Nefarious? Sounds like Sean P. Flannery is awesome, and the movie reviews are strong. Alan, Nefarious review, is there one on the website already?
I am not yet. I'm working on getting a writer on it. I have someone on it.
We will be reviewing it. I mean, the website reviews everything. Just to be clear, if you go to filmthreat.com, we've got 30 writers from all over the world that contribute reviews, and we will have a review of Nefarious. So here you go.
Is this I need to check that this was from today or nope, that's old. Never mind.
Yeah, that's from 2020, Alan. But look at all that stuff that was announced.
That's the one you were looking for. I know. You want me to pull it up again?
That's okay. I think we've wrapped up our conversation of Star Wars Celebration. Look, it's going to be all weekend. I feel like the big news was today. And because of the trades and it's a holiday weekend, all the big news dropped today. There won't be any other big news coming out of Star Wars Celebration this weekend because it's a holiday weekend. superhero movies are the best movies. Chris, what did you think of Infinity Pool? I saw it yesterday night and thought it could have been executed better than it actually was. Mia Goth was insane in that performance. What a performance. I enjoyed aspects of it, and I thought it was weird. And there is a review on this channel. You're probably new to the channel. Just go to our channel and look up Infinity Pool. There's a review on the channel. So there you go. All right. Now we're definitely going to pivot. We're definitely going to pivot. And let's talk about what are we going to talk about first? Hang on, folks. Give me a moment. Give me a moment here. Let's talk about a movie that Alan and I have both seen. It is a Chinese film called Full River Red. It is a nearly 3-hour film set in ancient China. It is the story behind a poem that Chinese children recite in school, and it's how this poem came to be. And I saw this film in a theater. I think, Alan, you saw a screener of it.
Yes.
I saw this film in a theater, and for the first half of the movie, it was insufferable. And has this kind of weird hip hop music. It's set in this castle, this sort of castle establishment, and it's all about a letter. Someone has a letter. Where's the letter? Who has the letter? We need this letter. And the letter, there's something nefarious happening behind the scenes with this letter. Who's got the letter? We need to track down who has it. Some people are killed for even just looking at the letter. And you'll see this sort of palace intrigue of, he's not the king, but he's, what is his station?
He's the prime minister.
He's the prime minister.
Yeah, and there's a delegate of a rival clan that has come to visit.
So you've got all these soldiers guarding this fortress, and it's all about the search for this letter. Peasants are involved. There's all sorts of palace intrigue of who has this letter, what are the contents of the letter, and the prime minister is after this letter. You little by little, you actually get to see the prime minister, and he has all these guards. You can't even get physically close to him. And there, what I did like about halfway through the film, it's like, oh, I get it. I get what they're building towards. There are all these reversals where you even think that a certain character is the lead character, but they're not the lead character. A different person is the lead character. And are they really the lead character? So I did love the sort of twists and turns, but also this movie is a slog to get through at 3 hours. So it's not something you need to know what you're getting into. It's Chinese, it's 3 hours, and it has this sort of unique way of telling the story where it cuts to like these overhead shots, which I thought was really interesting, and plays this music that isn't of the era. And I thought that kind of worked for me. And then I thought the thing that brought it all together to me was, I'm like, this movie, it's just long. And then the ending happened and I was blown away. The ending brought it all together because it's based on a true historical event, and it's based on a poem that children in China recite aloud. So I am positive with a warning. If this is not your type of movie, a 3-hour film with Chinese subtitles, you're checked out. If you want to see something that challenges your expectations, that does have a payoff at the end, I thought the payoff was great. I thought the payoff was great. Getting there was rough. So a mixed recommendation for Full River Red, which is playing in limited release. Alan, what did you think of Full River Red?
I think Imperfect's comment here sums it up.
It was exhausting.
Okay, so I have to say, I think you and I saw a different movie, especially regarding the ending. There's never been a movie that has frustrated me more than this. Throughout the entire 3 hours of it, I was constantly pausing it just to see how much more of this movie I'm gonna have to watch. Um, okay, so this is the problem with the movie and with the opening of the movie. Things are introduced to you at a fast and furious rate that you just have you don't have the cognitive ability to keep up with it or to understand what's going on. Captions are thrown at you and then thrown away, and it's like, like they'll identify a character, their rank, and you have no time to absorb it with what does that mean. And then also, the most frustrating thing about this movie is the rapid rate at which captions are thrown at you and taken off screen. There are a full sentence of dialogue you have 2 seconds to read before they yank it off the screen. And so now I'm lost. I have no idea what's going on. And so I would say the first 45 minutes of the movie is me trying to understand who is who and what is going on. This is, I've mentioned before, I have dyslexia. I've mentioned before, I have dyslexia. This movie is a dyslexic's nightmare.
Well,
I feel like throughout watching it, and maybe it's because I watch it at home, I just felt like I had a loose grasp of the plot. I started to kind of figure things out, and this was frustrating, especially at 3 hours. And you mentioned the scenes, like they would be in a room and then have to go to another room, and then you heard this kind of Chinese hip hop soundtrack as they're running to the room. And it reminds me of, in Batman, in the Adam West Batman, they'd be in a scene, and then you'd have that cartoon interstitial, the da 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 da, and then they'll be in another one. That's what this reminded me of. I just I can't recommend this movie. And the ending that grasped you so much, I didn't get that. I didn't.
Well, I think the ending is the payoff. I thought, but you're right. The running time is tough. The running time is rough. They really, and you were right about the subtitles. Even look, I'm not dyslexic, and it would bothered me. They put up someone's name and then their like rank, and it was just bizarre.
Yeah, and you have no time to process that. What does that rank and that name mean in the context of the story? And can you remember it? Can you log that into your memory enough to when you see them again, you understand what they are?
Exactly. So, well, there you go. A mixed reaction to this film. I think it's also a hard movie to watch on. It would be a hard movie to watch on video. In the theaters, at least it's like, all right, I'm gonna get to the end.
Yeah, and you're forced to kind of focus on the story when you're in the theater as opposed to when you're at home.
Okay, quick comments here. Then we're going to talk about other movies. Brock Samsonite. So sensory overload? No, just a lot of story, a lot of things you have to keep track of. Like, but it really is focused on like who has this letter, who has read the letter, who has committed the letter to memory, and getting this letter to the prime minister. And then you find out the prime minister wants to hide this letter. And then you find out, well, why does he want to hide it? It's just a lot of palace intrigue. Yeah. The Alex Zorba says, you had me at ancient China, brother. Love me Asian films. Well, there you go. That if you like those kinds of movies, you will like it. So who is the main character, says Aaron Taylor? Ancient Chinese secret. Davina Duckworth, Hong Kong cinema is nearly dead. It's the influence of China. You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. It's really, to me, the cinema that is blowing up is Korean, South Korean.
Yeah.
So Brock Samsonite, can't recommend this movie or can't recommend it enough. You trailed off at the end there, Alan.
Can't recommend it. Can't
recommend it. Yeah. Yeah, I heard him. So there you go. And then there you go. So Doc Savage for 5 says, off topic, but have any of you seen The Cursed starring Boyd Holbrook and Kelly Riley? I personally wish there were more films like this. Alan, have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Let me check if we have.
Doc Savage, I'm sorry. And you gave us 5. I'm so sorry. The Cursed. No, I'm sorry.
Let's see.
Did we review it on the website?
I'm checking if we did. No, we didn't review it on the site either.
The title's familiar. Maybe I saw it.
Yeah. Well, Curse is in a lot of titles.
It's such a. I'm so sorry, Doc Savage. Search the channel and search the website. But Doc Savage, we appreciate your support. Thank you so much, Spidey.
I'm sorry.
Forced.
No, I'm just saying this is why I didn't see the Indiana Jones trailer.
Yeah,
it's
'Cause
2
minutes.
It's 3 damn hours long.
2 minutes, Alan.
It's 3 damn hours long. That's a lot
All
of
right.
minutes to take out of my life.
Alan, who has the letter? Find the letter, Alan, says Spidey Sensei 72. All right. Let's pivot, and we're going to talk about something else here. Let's see. Let's talk about paint, because that's fun. We'll talk about paint. I'm trying to think where okay. Here, Alan, did you see Paint?
Yes, I did.
Let's talk about Paint. It is the story of Carl Nargle. And this is not, I repeat, this is not a Bob Ross biopic. It is loosely based on Bob Ross. But it does start out with Owen Wilson as Carl Nargle. And he is a painter who paints idyllic and scenic mountain views, forest views, nature, and he has this huge show on a local PBS channel. And Carl is beloved by his ex-wife, who is also a producer on the show. He is the apple of the eye of all the women who work on the show, all have a crush on him. They all have had their dalliances with Carl. He's kind of set in his ways with this old school haircut. He unashamedly wears socks with sandals. And he's a caricature of Bob Ross. He is challenged when a new painting show appears on the network, which actually they wanted to expand Carl's show into 2 hours, and he didn't want to do 2 hours a day. That would be 2 paintings a day. So what happens is they bring in somebody new, Ambrosia, and it's the same show, but it's a young woman named Ambrosia doing paintings, kind of the same, but she's wild because she'll paint not just, scenes of nature, but UFOs and lightsabers. This is actually true. And blood. It's weird. So, and this is where the conflict arises is Carl Nargle begins to see his entire career unravel. He's not respected. He does these nature paintings, but even the local museum doesn't have any of his paintings there, even though he's a local legend. And it's a comedy that's one of those, it's not ridiculous and over the top, but Owen Wilson is chewing the scenery in every scene. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine as a comedy. I just I think it's confusing to people because almost everyone thinks this is a Bob Ross biopic. It is not that. It is completely fictional. It also has an ending that I thought the ending really paid off. I was sort of towards the middle. I'm like, come on, where's this going? Where is this going? How much humiliation can he endure? And then the ending brought it home for me. So I would say a mild recommendation for Paint. It's one of those, I saw it in the theater last night, but I actually think you might enjoy it better just catching it on streaming.
Yeah, I believe it's on Amazon Prime.
It's in theaters, but I was in a theater with 3 other people. Excuse me. Sorry. I don't know if
you okay?
No, I spilled coffee on myself.
Oh, okay.
And I'm whatever. It's a dark shirt. It's not a big deal. But no, I thought Paint was mildly entertaining. I would say if I caught it on a streaming, I would enjoy it. I don't rush to the theater to see it, but perfectly enjoyable, clever comedy, loosely based on the life of Bob Ross. It's not based on the characters, loosely based on aspects of Bob Ross. It is not Bob Ross. I saw the documentary about Bob Ross that's actually on Netflix, which is really tragic, actually,
Mhm.
because it's about who owns basically the licensing rights to Bob Ross as a person. And it's a fascinating documentary. So I would recommend pairing that documentary with the movie Paint. So mild recommendation. It was entertaining and fun. Don't rush to the theater to check it out. Alan, what did you think of Paint?
Yeah. Definitely did not like it as much as you did. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, not knowing anything about it, I assumed it would be a Bob Ross movie, and it wasn't. And I think that really threw me off because I think that would have made a much better story than this one. This this is the common criticism I have. We get a lot of independent films submitted to us, comedies, and this movie kind of epitomizes my criticism a lot of the indie comedies that we get. It's this idea that we're going to present a funny, humorous idea and never give you a punchline, never give you a payoff, something to really laugh at. The sense is, hey, this is a really weird idea. If we just play out this weird idea throughout the entire film, people will love it and people will enjoy it. And that doesn't work. Not only see, like, yeah, the connection with Bob Ross is he paints landscapes, he works for PBS, and he's got the hair down. But believe it or not, this movie takes place today, in modern times. They're still, they have cell phones, they have all that stuff. And so it's kind of this weird, we look like we live in the 70s, but we live in the present. I guess that's a funny idea, but they never really pay it off other than just to present the idea. And this is what this movie is. It's just constant, hey, this is a weird thought. This is a weird idea. Let's just throw it on screen and hope audiences will find it funny. And it just becomes tiresome. And the movie, yeah, I mean, I guess there's a poignant ending, but it's not like I haven't seen that ending in a million comedies and million dramas. And so it was just like, I feel like when I walked away was that this movie had potential of being a Bob Ross comedy, and it didn't give us any of that, and just walked away feeling really disappointed and kind of like I just wasted another 90 minutes of my life. So that's 4.5 hours this week, which I'm just sitting through really mediocre, really bad movies. And that's why I didn't see the Indiana Jones trailer.
Well, okay,
so 4.5 hours.
Okay, and I'll say this: my mild recommendation is catch this on streaming when it's out for streaming. Don't rush to it's in theaters today, but don't make it a point to go see it. It's not worth rushing to the theater unless maybe you have A-list and you're like, well, I've seen everything. I'm gonna go check it out, but don't recommend it.
It's got some really good actors in it. I mean, Owen Wilson, Stephen Root, Michaela Watkins, Wendy Covey. Oh, I forget her. You know who I'm talking about. Oh, Wendy McClendon Covey.
Right.
And they're good, but the movie is just a huge letdown.
All right, we're going to talk about some more movies, including Tetris, but let's get to your comments and questions here. John Manilang says, oh, disappointed this isn't about Alan's room. The nerd far away, would y'all consider Paint a parody? It has aspects of, well,
no,
it's not a parody as a genre. It's a comedy that is inspired by Bob Ross. Let's say that.
I mean, the character was inspired by Bob Ross. The setting was inspired, but the story definitely wasn't.
The story is completely different. Sen 3D, but isn't it kind of a Bob Ross allegory? No, but the hair is a dead giveaway.
But the idea, Bob Ross, Carl Nagel is kind of a sexual dynamo. I think that's the joke there.
Micah Henry says Scott Pilgrim moment with the coffee spill. I actually realized I spilled coffee on camera, and it just I had to go off camera for a second. Whatever, it's all good. Take a breath, Chris says imperfect. Micah Henry, a little paint by the numbers. maybe in the story it is.
Yeah.
Zavin says, sounds like Walk Hard.
Except not funny.
Yeah, Walk Hard I thought was very funny. This is mildly funny. Brock Samsonite, because Bob Ross sold those rights to keep his TV show running even after he finished filming it. Davina Duckworth says, some good Bob Ross videos on YouTube. Oh, that's great.
I think Twitch has an entire channel.
Oh, they do? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Spidey Sensei 72, his voice had that calming and nullifying effect. The show was hypnotic. Goober says David Arquette is a licensed Bob Ross teacher. Is that true? I happen to know David Arquette also, by the way, is a wrestler. Have you seen that documentary where David Arquette is a wrestler?
Yeah, that's it's a documentary. He's
What's the name of that doc? I forget.
Oh.
Can you look it up, Alan?
It's like I know his name's now. You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
Yeah, You Cannot Kill David Arquette. So add that to another skill of David Arquette. I've always loved that guy. I've met him at Sundance a couple times. He's no BS, no celebrity airs about him. He's just a regular dude who likes people. And you don't get that sort of, like, oh, the sort of elitist vibe from him. He's just a dude making his way in this business.
Yeah. And for the wrestling fans out there, you will also remember that David Arquette was the WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah. Aaron Taylor says, sounds comparable to Nacho Libre, loosely based on the true story of an actual wrestler, just wasn't as funny as they thought. That is a fair point, Aaron. Doc Savage for 5. Doc, you guys kill me. The Cursed was a 2022 low-budget horror film set in the 1800s that was shot and scored beautifully. Chris Allen, I highly recommend it. I
feel like I've seen it.
I feel like we did see it. It's search the channel. Just watch our review. Look, we review like 4 or 5 things a week. That's like, over 1,000 things a year.
Let's just say the ones that stand out, we remember.
Yeah, it didn't stand out, but I do remember. I do remember enjoying it more than I should have. So there you go. Aaron Taylor says at least it wasn't 3 hours. And there you are. Okay, we're pivoting again, folks. We're going to pivot again. We're going to talk a different movie here. What are these pictures we're getting? This is bizarre. Let's talk Tetris. Tetris stars Taron Egerton as a real person. He plays Hank Rogers, who works for a software company who wants to get the rights to Tetris. And the company that this British company that he's getting the rights from, he wants to get the handheld rights to Tetris. Okay. They parse out these rights very carefully. So this British company he's working with, played by some very good actors who end up being the villains, though you don't know it at the time. Toby Jones being among them. He plays Robert Stein. These are all based on real people. Tetris is a true story, unlike Paint. So Hank Rogers goes to the UK to get the handheld rights to resell them to Nintendo, and they're going to launch the Nintendo Game Boy with Tetris preloaded. It comes with a Tetris cartridge, right? So every time you buy a Game Boy, you get Tetris. This turns into a crime drama devolving into just to comedic levels that's just insane. Hank Rogers actually is he's Dutch, but lives in Japan with his wife and children, and he flies to Russia to get the rights from the Russians. And he actually meets Alexei Pajitnov, who is the coder who created Tetris. And it's interesting because they go through, it's really cool storytelling. They have this like level 1, and they have these video game graphics, and it kind of walks you through the story as kind of a video game. And it uses kind of these like old school 8-bit graphics, which is kind of neat, and video game sounds. And it just helps immerse you in that. And Interestingly, I didn't know a lot about this stuff. The original version of Tetris was formed with the the brackets that are on every keyboard. He made Tetris using brackets on the keyboard, and he programmed it in BASIC. Alexei Pajitnov did. So Hank Rogers ends up having a relationship with Alexei. He's dealing with sort of the communists there in Russia. Alexei doesn't get any money from it because it all goes to the people, right? So the money actually goes to the state, doesn't go to Alexei. And it turns into this bizarre comedic because Hank doesn't realize like what he's gotten into. He meets a woman named Sasha, who's his translator, who you don't know. There are a lot of reversals. There are people watching him. There are people listening at every turn, every phone call. What is Hank doing there? He just earnestly wants to give money to the people who own the rights to Tetris, which is Alexei programmed it. But it's very interesting. There's a scene at the beginning of the movie where the people from the Communist Party come to visit Alexei, and they're angry at him because his video game has become so popular, it's reduced the office productivity of everyone in Russia. And they're pissed. They're pissed about it. I don't want to go too much into the story because, it would ruin the enjoyment of the movie. Just say there are tons of reversals, twists and turns, real danger for Hank Rogers, with the communists coming after him and the Communist Party, basically flexing their muscle, and there are real stakes involved. Alexei's family is threatened, beaten. It's kind of shocking to see. And this is right before, the fall of Russia, the sort of the breaking up of Russia, the former USSR with Gorbachev. And Gorbachev is actually a character in this. Gorbachev plays into the history of Tetris. It is literally plays out like a Corleone family crime comedy with ridiculous extremes. So I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's on Apple TV Plus, which, if you know what I did, I actually just subscribed to it for $6.99. I'll unsubscribe. I'm going to watch Ted Lasso, and then I'm probably going to unsubscribe in a month. But for $6.99, that's what you would pay to rent the movie anyways, so whatever. I don't know why this movie wasn't given a theatrical release. A lot of these streaming movies now, I don't know why they're just not just releasing in theaters. I see a lot of movies in theaters that I think that should have been a streaming movie. Then I'll see movies on streaming, and why isn't this in the theater? But in any case, strongly recommend Tetris. Super fun comedy. The real history will surprise you. And the way that the story is told is very fun, very original, and I highly recommend it. So there you go. Alan, what did you think of Tetris?
I didn't see it. I was watching Full River Red.
You were watching Full River Red for like 3 days.
3.5. Oh, believe me, it pretty much was. But it reminds me of another documentary, Red Penguins. I think you've seen that one. That's
yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, the bringing American hockey, basically, or American hockey franchise to Russia, and the intrigue. I mean, people get murdered, and this is a documentary.
It's crazy.
It just sounds like that. I am interested in seeing this one, but I think we talked about it. Yeah, I think we talked about it before, but it seems like these stories mostly exist for posterity's sake. Just it's a weird story, no one knows about it, so let's make a movie about it and kind of capture this insane story for history. And I think the pinball movie, I don't know if we're going to talk about that one, but that felt the same way.
I don't think we'll have time to get to pinball this week, but
yeah. Well, definitely not this week, but later on. But the idea of there's these weird stories out there in the zeitgeist that no one knows about, and it's movies like this that just brings it up and captures it for all time, especially when you can't get documentary footage of what actually happened.
Right. Well, let's go to your chat comments and questions here, but I strongly recommend Tetris. Wish I'd seen it in a theater. super fun film, and you'll be caught up on history of that game and acquiring its rights. I would recommend another book. I read this book back in the 90s, and there have since been updates to this book. It's called Game Over, and Game Over is about the history of all of the different video game companies. What I learned, and it reads like a crime. It's basically like a mafia. It's like the history of the mafia, and I'm reading about in this book Game Over, like Nintendo started as a playing card company in the late 1800s. It's nuts. Then it goes to the history of Sega and Sony PlayStation, and basically tells the history of all of these video game platforms and the battles between these companies. At the time I'd read it, I mean, it was, we weren't even in the next generation systems. But I love that book because the way it was written was with all this drama between the families that own these companies and how they just battled it out. So I would supplement Tetris with the book Game Over, which I think is a fantastic read about the history of video games and video game platforms. Let's go to your comments. Hans Euchre for 2. Buy a cup of coffee for Alan. He seems exhausted.
Yeah, after 3 hours of Full River Red.
Are you a coffee drinker, Alan?
I'm not a coffee drinker.
How come there's no Film Threat coffee? It seems like every YouTube channel I'll check out now is just like, here's my coffee. What is?
I know. I just felt like we should just start doing parodies of all these internet sponsorships.
No, it's fine. I think it's fine. It's just, I don't know. Let's buy our merch. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. Alan and I are both wearing Film Threat t-shirts today.
Yeah. By the way, another good video game documentary is Insert Coin. In fact, we did a watch party with the filmmakers and some of the subjects of Insert Coin.
Yes, Joshua Sway is the director. We did a watch party for Insert Coin. Check out Insert Coin. Insert Coin is a documentary about the company Midway, who did Mortal Kombat. They did the Terminator 2 video game that was in arcades and for home as well. It's a great documentary about how they innovated the technology. It's fantastic. John Manilang said, I'm reactivating my Apple TV Plus for this movie. It's worth it. It's $6.99. I mean, just like the way it is now with these streaming services, you got to have something really good on there for me to want to check it out. And I actually was like, I want to see this movie. I'm just gonna pay it. It's fine. Aaron Taylor, I was expecting 3 hours of Tetris gameplay. Disappointed. John Manilang goes on to say, man, I remember that first gen toaster Game Boy ate up 4 AA batteries like nothing. They even mention that. They talk about the batteries in it. It's great. Just as like, if you're a video game nerd or like a student of game history, grew up playing video games, it ties in with the Game Boy in this. It's such a great, interesting moment in history. Aaron Taylor asks, Alan, was that Red Penguins from 2019?
Yeah, I mean, technically 2020, but yeah, that's pretty much cool.
Tetris is the gamer version of Air, says Dude B. And Aaron Taylor, Toby Jones plays a villain, new territory for him. He always plays a villain for the most part, but a sympathetic villain in one sense. Nicholas Vargo, I liked Paint. It was the Regal mystery movie back on March 20th. And while it seems everyone hates it, Owen Wilson and Michaela Watkins' performances really made it work for me. I'm telling you, I enjoyed it. I just thought it's a good streaming movie.
I mean, I will agree. Michaela Watkins
awesome.
was great in the movie. Yes.
Yeah. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Tetris was great. It was fun how Nintendo got go involved in everything. We need a movie about the lead up to the creation and launch of the Famicom NES. I would watch a documentary about that for sure. Alan looks more like a green tea man, says JTP RX.
Yeah, you would be right.
And it's okay to laugh, says Tetris was a spy thriller wrapped in nostalgia and comedy. That's a better way to put it than I did. Yeah, it definitely has spy thriller vibes. I really enjoyed it. It's well worth subscribing to Apple TV Plus, at least for a month, to see it and check out some other stuff on Apple TV Plus. And it's just well worth it.
Hey, I mean Ted Lasso, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
Worth on TV.
Yeah. Before we pivot to another review and more conversation, I need to remind you that Attack of the Dock tickets are on sale. And by popular demand, we are adding a third screening at 5:30.
Hey.
That 5:30 will be our backers screening. So there's screenings at I'll share screen here. There's screenings at 5:30, 8 p.m., and 10:15 p.m. It will be more than likely probably the only time you'll have an opportunity to see this movie in a theater is going to be these screenings on Friday, April 21st. I will be there. Alan will be there. They're going to add, it's not there yet. Maybe I should refresh the page here and see if they've added the 5:30 screening yet. I don't know that they have. But they will be, I'm told that they'll be adding a screening of it. I'm very excited for you to be there. People from the old G4 will be there. Zach Selwyn will be there with his guitar. Alan Ing is going to be there. He'll be moderating the Q&A. As it states on here, I will be there, which is crazy. All right, so I'm going to be there.
Are we doing Q&As for each screening or?
Yes.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, everyone who shows up will get a collectible poster that will only be available at the screening. It is not the official poster. It is an alternative poster to this one. And I don't want to spoil it. It is really cool. So check it out. We've added another screening. The link is in the description of this episode. The link is in the description. So please come to the screening. You know, I expect the 8:00 screening looks like it's almost sold out at this point. So if I were you, I'd grab tickets to the 10:15 and the 5:30. It looks like the 5:30 will be our backers special screening. So there you go. And then we have producers coming to the 8:00. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for you all to see it.
Is there any surprises coming out in the next few days?
Oh, shoot. That's right. That's right.
I'm wondering why you're keeping it down.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the trailer for Attack of the Dock, the official trailer drops on Monday. And I can't say where, but you'll see it everywhere. But it drops on Monday. I don't want to. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. But check out, if you are subscribed to the new Film Threat Trailers channel. So you got to check it out. Our Film Threat Trailers channel. We post new movie trailers daily. We do trailer debuts. I strongly recommend checking out and subscribe to. It's just Film Threat Trailers. So we decided we just weren't getting traction. We would like run reviews and live streams on our main channel, like you're watching right now, and then we would post some trailers, and then they would get no traction. So why don't we spin off a whole new channel? We're closing in on 1,000 subs, and you will see the debut of the Attack of the Dock trailer on our Film Threat Trailers channel sometime on Monday. I don't want to say when, but just subscribe to it. Subscribe to it, and you'll see the Attack of the Dock official trailer drops Monday, and then 2 weeks from Monday, you'll be able to get it on video on demand. I'm very excited about that. There you go. Alan, I'm excited that you're going to be there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it again.
Cool. And it looks like, where are we at with movies? I could talk about Enys Men. I could talk about Enys Men, or we could do a full air review with you weighing in on your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Enys Men, and I haven't heard of it until I saw it on the.
Here, it'll be the shortest review ever. You ready?
Okay.
I saw a movie. Wait, no. Sorry. Okay. I saw a film called Enys Men. It's a horror film shot with a 16mm wind-up Bolex. It is a ghost story set on an island where a woman is living and she thinks she sees ghosts. She may, in fact, be a ghost. I don't know. The movie never explicitly tells you this. It's very much an art film. and it feels like in some ways like a student short film that was extended to 90 minutes. I did not love this movie, Enys Men. I thought in technique, you could almost pair this with a screening of Skinamarink, with that sort of grainy footage and whatnot. I think that you could read a lot into it, but I think it's the filmmaker saying, I don't know. What do you think, viewer of my movie? All the sound in the film is done after the fact because it was shot with a crank Bolex. I think the longest shot you can get with a crank Bolex is about 40 seconds. It's a beautiful looking film that for me doesn't go much of anywhere. If I saw this at a film festival, I'd probably enjoy it, but I cannot recommend it. But it would make a great pairing with Skinamarink. So Enys Men, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, and it's not Enys Men. Can you zoom in on that, Alan?
Let's see.
Let's zoom in. It's
Whoops,
haunting, supremely disquieting, a revelatory experience, a wicked, witchy folk freak horror, a sublime supernatural mind fuck. Maybe for them, but not for me. And I saw it with like a decent audience. I saw it last weekend. Eric Weber and I went to see it, and was not
this
over
is a neon film too. It's
a neon film, but it's one of those movies like here's what this movie is. Okay. This is a movie that probably was made by a cultural council who had a budget, and they did a service deal with Neon and paid Neon to release the movie to give it credibility. And they even did at the end of the movie, they had this little like 10-minute Q&A with the director and the lead actress where they talked about the film. And that tells me that this movie was promotion. A lot of people don't know this, but other countries, other than the United States, and I have a theory about this. This is a discussion for another time, but other countries support their artists, meaning Canada has the Canadian Film Board. You pitch your movie to the Canadian Film Board. Does it star Canadians? Does it have Canada themes? Does it check off these boxes? We will fund your movie. It's effectively funding propaganda about the country. Now, in years past, some great filmmakers and really great films have come from this. It's about promoting the culture. It's about preserving the culture of countries like France, the UK, Canada. And they actually fund the arts. They give money to filmmakers to make movies that say good things about the country. And they send those movies off to other countries like the United States for us to consume and say, hey, maybe I should go to France. I mean, they do this with Ireland, like Ireland, they make movies set in Ireland about Ireland, how beautiful, lush it is. And you'll see that the tourism board was actually involved in the making of the Banshees of Inisherin. So my suspicion is somehow there was some board that funded this. Now, it wasn't very expensive to make this movie, but it was very expensive to get it released. So I look at things like that and I see those over-the-top critical reactions, and I'm a bit suspicious having seen the film. Now, in the United States, there is no governmental board. You'll be either choosing to make a film independently, or you'll pitch it to a major studio after you've sort of moved up the ranks, probably working in independent film. But most foreign films are state sponsored or affiliated or receive some funding from, say, a company like Film 4, which is in France. So I look on this as this is a movie that was promoted specifically to promote this filmmaker. Now, do I have 100% knowledge of this? No. But based on seeing the movie, based on like this little 10-minute thing, based on the fact that a company like Neon, which did Parasite, I have my suspicions. And those service deals are real. Meaning you could go to a big distributor, and if you give them lots of money, they will put your movie out, assuming it reaches a certain level of quality. Right? So I did not love this film. And I'm only speculating that there were other monetary forces behind it. And now is it evil for them to do that? No, it's a movie, and it's not, this wasn't propaganda of in any sense. I just didn't buy into it as much as other people did. And I kind of almost actually liked Skinamarink better. But I would put it in the category of Skinamarink.
So I'm looking at the production notes. Shot during the lockdown,
right?
And the crew set out to produce a film that had a low carbon footprint, producing only 4.55 tons of carbon dioxide.
Is that real?
Yeah, compared to 3,000 that a typical film puts out.
Sure. That's great.
Good for them.
Nobody cares. Here's what we'll do, though, is we're going to here's what I'm going to say. Go see Air this weekend.
Yeah.
Go see Air this weekend. That's what I will say about Enys Men. Do you want to talk about Air? Let's talk about Air.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk a little bit about it because there's not a whole lot I can add to what you've already said. It is a fantastic film. It's kind of like I'm kind of on this kick nowadays of watching films that have that are about hope and about the American dream without being woke about it at all. And this movie, surprisingly based on the subject matter, is I'm trying to think. I don't think it's woke. I don't remember any really woke moments.
Nothing. Zero.
It's just about the idea of a company seeing potential in a person, Michael Jordan, and willing to pay that person their value, meritocracy, if you will. And the astonishing thing about it at the end was the fact that they talk about how Michael Jordan still continues to receive about $400 million a year in passive income, which is amazing to me.
That's crazy.
Well, ending.
Here's we did talk about Air. I gave my review. I love this film. One of my favorite films of the year. 2 favorites so far. I'm not saying these are best films. Favorite. There's a difference. Air and John Wick 4. And Air is fantastic. It's in the vein of that Moneyball, Jerry Maguire, and it was just refreshing to see a movie that focused on the American dream, good people. This Michael Jordan's family. You meet his family, his father, his mother. You see why he is such an upstanding person, and how he really very early on thought about his brand, right, and what it meant. And what an inspiration he could be to kids. So it's one of my favorite movies of the year. It is now in theaters. I don't know that it's going to be in theaters long. Go see Air this weekend. Please.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one is the first movie that has real award contention. You say it's too early, but Everything Everywhere All at Once came out around this time too, and that seemed to do pretty good during the awards.
Yeah, so strong recommendation for Air. Go see it. Now, we promised some other stuff today. Or wait, do we have comments? Let's get to some comments.
Yeah, get to comments.
Quick comments here because we're wrapping up. Brock Sampson, I think 5:30 is sold out. It's not showing up on the website page. No, it's just not listed yet.
Yes, and they're adding in. They haven't added it officially yet.
Sifx, getting tickets for 10. Looking forward to it. Well, thank you for that. Wizard Stock, any chance Attack of the Dock screens over here on the East Coast? Maybe. There is a film festival in July that might show it. So there you go. Liam in Wales, the Enys Men trailer looks a bit like Quartermass. I know what Quartermass is. Probably because it was shot with the similar cameras. Aaron Taylor, Neon is less reliable than A24. Check the tax credits at the end of the movie for potential woke diversity grants. Canadian Bacon isn't a Canadian movie, says Aaron Taylor. Well, thank you for that. Mike MC Wong, Air is much better than Mario.
Yeah.
And Fat Elvis says Michael Jordan was a long shot in the NBA. At the time he was. At the time he was they signed him and he had never played a professional game in the NBA.
And they were building a brand around him. And then the sell they had to go through. And that's what this whole movie's about. It's about believing in Michael Jordan.
Yeah, so there you go. We're gonna wrap it up and right now. But we are going to, there are films that we missed today. We will get to those. We'll get to Pinball and some of these other movies that we didn't get to. We'll talk about. And next week we're talking about, what are we talking about? The latest episode of The Mandalorian, because it's fun. Look, I know some of you it's fun to hear me get angry about Star Wars. If it's give me an F for fun. If it's fun to hear me get angry about Star Wars, F's in the chat for fun when Chris talks about Star Wars. So there you go. Let's see some F's in the chat.
Yeah, and I am caught up on Picard season 3.
There you go. Wizard Shack says Attack of the Doc trailer on the Nooner next week. Well, it's going to come out a little before the Nooner. See, F's. It's fun. I see all kinds of F's. Look at these F's in the chat. Yeah. I mean, I'll ask Gary if he wants to show it. He can do a react, but I don't want to like lean on people too much. A G is in the chat. What does G mean? Imperfect. What does G mean?
There's a Q in the chat as well.
Here it is. Fear the Turtle 21 says, while I've lost most of my interest in Star Wars, I do love me some Gore rants. Bring it on. All right, good. We'll give you that. All right, Alan, what do you have coming up?
Let's see. Still keep visiting filmthreat.com for latest indie reviews. Also, I'll be in San Diego at the National Comedy Theater tomorrow night at 7:30, as well as next week. And I'll be at the Q&A for Attack of the Doc.
Great. And then, we didn't talk about Super Mario and spoilers. Maybe we can talk about that next week. We got to, Star Wars, my apologies. Star Wars and the news coming out of Celebration derailed everything we were going to talk about. We can talk about that next week, which is actually better because it gives more of you a chance to see Super Mario. We'll discuss that next week. That post credit scene, that tease. And I saw the movie a second time and I enjoyed it better the second time because I just accepted it for what it is. It's a movie for little kids. It's inoffensive. It's fine. But I think they missed an opportunity to, I didn't love it as much as everybody else did. Let's just say that.
It's not a bad movie, but
it's not bad by any means, but I'm not going to yuck your yum. If you love it, that's great. So support Film Threat, visit shop.filmthreat.com and pick yourself up a Film Threat t-shirt like Alan and I are wearing. And Matthew Hammond for $2. Who will shill your movie if not you? Shill away. Well, I'll shill. I just want you to see something. Like when you see the trailer gives you a sense of the tone of the movie. Let's just say that. We did a teaser like a year ago, but that's not the movie. That was just
It was a teaser.
It was a teaser. It was a teaser. It was like it was like a minute. It was fine. This trailer gives you insight into what you will see in the movie. It gives you a little taste of it. And I don't want to say, we've asked, I am sending out copies of Attack of the Doc to critics who would like to write a review. We're asking that all the reviews drop on April 24th, which is the 21st anniversary of G4 TV. We'd like, please buy the movie on April 24th and please, to talk about it. If you like it, you didn't like it, whatever. I'm bracing for your impact. It's going to get some bad reviews. It's going to get some good reviews. I hope people understand the type of movie I was trying to make.
I know we still haven't talked about how Film Threat is going to review it.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
We got to figure that out. But happy Easter, everybody. Have a great Easter weekend. Monday, Easter candy is 50% off. So I'm looking forward to Monday. And I'll be at the Rose Bowl swap meet this weekend. I'm not doing comedy there or anything else. Fear the Turtle 21 says, take care, Chris, Alan, and Chad. Enjoy the Masters. And let's all look forward to Attack of the Doc trailer drop on Monday. And Mike MC Wong says, can I buy a copy of Attack of the Doc from you? OC is too much of a drive for me. I get it. The Blu-ray will be out in July, right around San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to get a booth there and sell copies of the Blu-ray. We might even have like a Blu-ray release party. So there you go. And you can get the digital copy. You can get the digital version on Vimeo. So there you go. Thank you, everybody. Happy Easter. This is Jimmy Francis. Alan, please take us out. Alan.
Let's get out of here.
All right, fine.